Season two's presentation is more or less the same as previously, with the same draft as it had back in Season 1. However, this season was the first to primarily feature actually trained chefs, which, in theory, will have a more talented cast than last season. Unfortunately, this season probably has some of the least talented chefs to ever compete, with only two of the Black Jackets really being considered actually good. Hell, even a chef who is considered to have the best signature dish couldn't even turn on the oven, it's that bad. Speaking of first, Season 2 is notable for quite a few of them. For example, this season marks the first time Ramsay is able to overrule the nominations, which is used in order to eliminate Gabe in the second episode. Speaking of the second episode, this season also marks the first time a chef is medically eliminated, who is ironically enough called Larry Sick. Additionally, this is the first season to have both teams lose, as well as having a full team be ejected in the middle of dinner service. Not only that, but this season also marks the first time the teams are divided into genders rather than the teams being randomly assigned like previous season. This season also marks the first occurrence of the Coathagen and picture burning segment that tends to occur at the end of episodes after elimination. Challenge wise, this season also marks the introductions of the Taste It Now Make It challenge and the Relay challenge, both of which will go on to be recurring challenges in the future. Also, for some reason, half the chefs this season come from Texas. I have no idea why this is, but it's something really odd. Production notes aside, this season tends to be ranked pretty low when it comes to great seasons, primarily due to the aforementioned weak talent and unlikable chefs such as Tom and Sarah. However, perhaps the biggest point of criticism this season involves the supposed favoritism shown by Ramsay towards runner-up Virginia Dahlbeck, who is widely considered to be one of the worst runner-ups in the series due to her poor performances during service, resulting in her being nominated the most out of the entire season. It got to the point that third placer in the late Keith Green accused Ramsey of having a hard on for her during his elimination in third place. And back then, I thought that Keith's accusation towards Ramsey for his favoritism was childish. But nowadays, he might have had a point. I think Virginia's placement in the finals did also hurt the legacy of that season's winner Heather in the long run. I think she would have probably ranked higher on lists if her final competition was someone better like the aforementioned Keith. As a result of this, Gore proves to be pretty divisive here. While it's clearly improved in front of the camera, coming off as more confident, and of course he has some of his most iconic lines here, such as Holler Diced and Where's the Lamb Sauce, the supposed favoritism towards Virginia really hurts his run in this season. Despite the talent not being fantastic, there are quite a few likable chefs this season. For example, Heather tends to be well liked for being probably the best chef of the season, as well as the late Rachel for being the hardest worker of the season. Additionally, despite their poor skills, chefs like Giacomo and Virginia are fairly likable on their own. Unfortunately, once again, there's bad sides of this season when it comes to entertainment, with the main rivalry between Sarah and Virginia being labeled as one of the weakest in the series, due to Sarah's unlikability, and while I did mention that Virginia is likable on her own, the supposed favoritism made it really difficult to root for her. Overall, this season was an admittedly poorly executed step in making Hell's Kitchen what it is today. And while some of the chefs this season are likable, and Gore is at perhaps his most iconic he's ever been in this season, I don't think even that can save one of the weaker seasons of the show.